Knock, knock, knock. Remember, you're a creative person. You got to do something.
Welcome to another episode of Chewing the Fat. I am your host, Big Rob. Thank you so much for tuning in, downloading the podcast. I certainly do appreciate that. To the folks that have bought me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com, I certainly do appreciate your financial support of this podcast. It allows us to help tell those beautiful, messy human stories. Another beautiful, messy human calling in today from Boston, Mass. It's Mike Previti. Mike.
Hey, Rob.
Hey.
Thanks for having me, my friend. Good to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. As I've taken my journey into doing voice acting full time, I see Mike all over the place. Because that's a great thing about this community is it's pretty welcoming, it's pretty friendly, and you kind of find your tribe and your little group in there. So I appreciate you being here and being as kind as you are, not just to me, but to everyone in this.
I appreciate that, man.
In this industry. Mike, you're up in the Boston area. You from Boston natively?
I am. I'm from a town called Medford, is where I grew up. Medford, Mass. And we've, moved around over the years. And I live in a town called Reading, Mass right now with my wife and my two girls. And yeah, I've been here my whole life. And I don't love the snow right now. So I'm not a big fan of that part of living in New England. But we got like 2 feet of snow the other day. And, but we're kind of used to it at this point. But yeah, so that's where I am.
Awesome. So when you growing up in Medford and in that area, are you was acting and performing? Is that something that you always were in, or is it just kind of like you were around the same age that we still remember, Saturday morning cartoons? Was that a impetus to getting into voice acting for you, or?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely, no, it was kind of everything. So when I was young, my dad had watched Turner Classic Movies all the time. That was his thing, and so I was just kind of forced to watch these movies and these shows or whatever. And of course, Saturday morning cartoons when I got home from school and everything like that. And that just kind of at a really young age, maybe around, 9 or 10, I kind of had this thing where I knew I wanted to do that. And I didn't know what that really was. I just knew I wanted to be a part of it, whether it was the cartoon space or the movie space. And so at a really young age, I started really kind of fixating on what do I do? And, when I'm young, how do I do this thing? Somewhere along the way, I don't know when, but I kind of realized, or I heard somewhere that getting an agent is a good idea.
Okay.
I don't know where I heard it or whatever, but I remember begging my dad to look for an agent for me. And, he thought it was a phase. I mean, I kind of loved playing around when I was a kid and cops and robbers and doing all that stuff and make believe like a lot of other kids do. And so I think he thought it was a phase, and I would call him at work every single day. And I would say, did you look for an agent for me today? And I was maybe 11 at the time or something. And he was like, what is happening? So this is when the yellow pages were around. And so he was like, you know what? I'm just going to look. And the first thing I find, if I find something, I'll call and that'll be it. And it'll be over and I'll tell him that I looked, but nothing happened. Yeah. So he opened the yellow pages and there was right under B in the yellow pages, there was an agency called the Boston Agency, and it said modeling and acting or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he called and he said, listen, I have a, 11-year-old that is interested in possibly, getting into the business. And they said, you know what? As a matter of fact, we are currently looking for kids right now. So my father almost fell over and was like, oh my gosh, I can't even. So we went there for an interview and they, they said that they thought I would be really good for the agency. So I signed on with them. and, started doing some on-camera commercials and things like that. And so I and I was like, I've made it. Like, I'm in, an 11-year-old saying like, oh my God, this is it. This is, and little did I know there would be decades of those kind of things after that. But yeah, and then the music bug, I kind of caught the music bug. I had been taking drum lessons from the time I was about 10 years old. And then when I was around, so I was doing some on-camera stuff and other things for the agency. When I was around 15, the music bug hit really hard, and I got into my first band in high school. And I forgot about acting for a while at that point. And then so for years after that, I was a singer-songwriter for years and years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that's but that's really, how everything started when I was that young. So yeah, I was pretty young.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And I can imagine your dad like, I can't catch a break. There's actually an agent. And you know what I mean?
It was like, he couldn't believe it. And then he couldn't believe it when they said, we would love to have you. He was like, what's going on?
That's awesome.
So yeah. So it was something that's kind of, I think, when you're in the arts, I think it's something that's kind of in you. It's either in you or it's not, like you. And it's one of those things that, I've just needed to do my entire life. I've just needed to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something that's, and I tell this to a lot of people. It's like, and everybody has a story to tell. You know what I mean? And I think if there's something that's inside you that you need to get out, you need to get it out. You know what I mean? Whether it's some sort of performance, a song, writing a song, a poem, a piece of art, a scribble, whatever it is, performing on stage. I think there's something that, once that's in you, you want to share it. It's not necessarily, you know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely,
you have to get it out, or else it feels like it's just like there's something bubbling under the surface, and it becomes kind of physically uncomfortable, No,
it's true. I mean, there was a time in my life not too long ago where I had been doing music for so long, and I stopped it because it really wasn't getting me where I wanted to go with it. And after years, I was like, I think I'm kind of like done. And this is pre-voiceover, but I said, I think I'm kind of done. And I spent a lot of years not doing anything creative. I stopped that. I was like, I'm sick of chasing it. I'm sick of doing that. Yeah. And I said, I'm just going to concentrate on my family and my job, my 9 to 5. And so I did that, but you can only do that for so long until it starts creeping up again. And you're like, no, hey, knock, knock, knock. Remember, you're a creative person. You got to do something. And that's kind of what was the beginning of my voiceover career. But so yeah, if it's in you, it's in you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what type of arc did your music career take? What type of music were you into? Was it jazz, experimental, acid, punk, or
it was a lot of
ska?
Well, I grew up in the 80s, right? So it was like 80s, hair metal and hard rock stuff, and and I and so that was kind of like when I was in my first bands, it was a lot of like cover band stuff, and then when I started writing original music, it was kind of on the rock pop type of genre. And, did a lot. I mean, I've written a ton of songs over the years, and, I've kind of had a lot of close calls where like, it almost happened and then it didn't happen. And that's just the nature of the business, Yeah. And so I was doing, I was writing, and it was under my name, and I had a backing band, but sometimes I would travel and I would just play acoustic shows. I'd go out to LA, or I'd go to Nashville, and I'd go to New York a lot and play. And I had a record deal at one point, and it was a really crappy one. And I had to sue my record company to get the rights to my record back. I remember that was like a great experience. Oh yeah, it did. But no, it was, and I've written with a lot of great people over the years and stuff. So it was definitely, it taught me a lot. And little did I know, it was kind of preparing me for voiceover in a lot of ways. Because it's very parallel, when you're a musician and then you become a voice actor, there's a lot of similarities. So I learned a lot from the years that I was a singer-songwriter, and had a lot of great experiences, and kind of learned how to market myself, and learned how to deal with people in the entertainment industry, which is what you got to do as a voice actor as well. And so yeah, it kind of prepared me from where I'm at now. I mean, I don't regret a single thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So as often happens on this show, as I get sidetracked by interesting things my guests say. So is this you?
Oh,
is this you? Is Extraordinary? Is that your album?
That is me. Yeah. Yep.
Extraordinary by Mike Previti.
That was a long time ago.
2006.
And then I had another one in 2008, which was just a 6-song EP that I had done with, produced with Anthony Resta, who is he's out in LA now. He's been out in LA for years, but Anthony's produced Elton John and Duran Duran and Nuno Betancourt, and just a lot of people. And I did the 2008 one with him, and that was great. And yeah, Extraordinary was the one when I got signed. That was the album that came out, and yeah. So it was an experience, man. It was great in a lot of ways.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Do you? And I asked this before I put a link to it or anything like. Do you still get a little residuals on those fractional pennies?
Not really. I mean, every once in a while, like I'm with ASCAP, so every once in a while I'll get a check. Maybe a couple of $100, and sometimes I look at it and I go, wow, this is these songs are being played in Shanghai, and I had no idea. You know what I mean? So every once in a while I'll see those, but yeah. So
that's you'll get a few more fractional cents. Well, I'll put a link up and you'll get some fractional cents later. It's funny. I had because I've got an album out of just like electronic stuff that I had made and put out, and I get the iTunes report comes in every week, like where it's been, and then one week it was like in Tokyo. It was all from Tokyo, and it was like I was like, great, wow, this got listened to It was 28 times.
Yeah,
I think.
But that's kind of the beauty, though, about music nowadays is that there's a lot of opportunity for you to put your songs everywhere. Yeah. And the way that people are consuming entertainment and art nowadays is so different than it used to be. I mean, half of these bands and songwriters and, singers, whatever, like on TikTok will have a career before they actually need a record company to come in. Maybe they'll never even need a record company to come in. So
and won't have to suffer the bad contract, God,
Yeah. So it's just different now, but it's awesome. I love it,
Yeah. But that, but that's the thing, even like with what we do as voice actors and stuff, it's a lot of auditioning. It's a lot of putting stuff. I don't want to call it throwing spaghetti against the wall, but it's a lot of auditioning. You just hoping that you're connecting with the source material and that the right ears hear you, because you could connect. And if it had been a different casting director, you would have gotten the
That's
gig.
Right. That's right.
You
never know.
The casting director. Yeah. You just never know. You just have to be true to yourself and put yourself out in it, and then let it do what it's going to do, and then move on to the next.
That's how you have to do it.
Move on to the next.
And it's
audition.
not easy. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to kind of have the mindset that you need to have to just continue to move on with no real feedback from the auditions that you're sending in,
Yeah. It's I think that's one of the, because as artists and creatives, I think we crave the feedback, good, bad, or otherwise, because then we can make a different choice, or we could, adjust a performance or whatever. Yeah. But I think even in that, if you get too much feedback, then you're becoming untrue to who you are and how you would naturally approach something, which is then not going to be what you needed to be for the next thing or whatever.
Yeah, it gets in your head too much, and that's when you start second guessing, and it's been there, done that, right? We all have. It's it can mess with you a little bit, but
and that type of like advice and stuff like that, that's kind of what you're offering now in your hold your hand.
Oh, the VO hand holding. Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
VO hand
Yeah.
holding kind of realm. Again, that kind, nurturing nature that you have. What is VO hand holding all about?
So VO handholding came up because I've been asked for maybe the last year and a half off and on, like if I coach, would I coach, blah, blah, blah. And I never wanted to be a coach. I never, maybe years down the line, that's something that I would want to do. But I feel like I'm continuing to build my business and I'm not where I want to be yet as a voice actor. But what I did realize was, so I was like, well, I don't want to coach. And I would explain that to a couple of friends of mine. They're like, but you're doing it already. You're on social media and you're already doing this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but it's more throwing out my opinion based on kind of my career and what I'm going through at the time. And yeah, I'll share, this is my advice, this is my opinion, but I'm not going to coach somebody on their reads. Like I don't want to do that. There's plenty of really great coaches out there. The world does not need another voiceover coach as far as I'm concerned. There's too many out there to begin with. A lot of people call themselves coaches and aren't really coaches, but that's a whole other podcast. But, so I was trying to think, I'm like, well, is there something, because I would have people get in touch with me, DM me on social media and say, can I have your opinion on this? Or do you mind if we do this? And I've gotten on Zoom calls with people and kind of just answered questions, really simple stuff, but things that you don't, as a newer voice actor, even if you're like a year or 2 years new, that you don't know until you know. Like, you don't know what you're going to run into until it happens. So I was like, well, maybe that's what I can kind of do, is just, if voice actors are interested, just kind of having access to somebody Monday through Friday during business hours to just pick up the phone or get on a Zoom call and say, I got this question about this. Like, keep me on the phone for 5 minutes, keep me on the phone for an hour. Maybe that's where I can help, just kind of the nuts and bolts of things. So I said, well, let me see if I throw it out there, if it's worth doing, and people have been responding very positively to it. So yeah, it's just kind of helping people with the stuff that, you don't know until you know, kind of thing, just about the business, about growing, about, going left instead of right, like, and why, and all those types of things. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. VO hand holding. Yeah.
I love that. And you're right, because there's so many parts of this that, like, I am still discovering, and that it is, as much as it is about performance and this, that, and the other, and your acting skill, there's also your own business owner. And I think that was one of the most eye-opening parts of it, is like, I was not prepared to, to be like the head of a company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I was not prepared to be the CEO.
Yep.
And so I think those are the lessons that I am, like, still learning as we go along.
Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people run into, or the reason why people stop doing it, is because, we've all seen the social media posts out there about, you can make $500 a day in your pajamas and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And it's a bunch of crap. I mean, yeah, can you ultimately make really good money in this business? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But it's, like you said, Rob, it's running a business. It's building a business. And that is not an easy task.
No.
They say it takes 3 to 5 years in a new business just to get to a point where you maybe start to make money. And so it's just one of those things where I think a lot of people leave because they realize after a while it's a lot of work.
You mean it's not just talking?
Exactly. Oh, and those posts aggravate the crap out of me.
Oh, they infuriate me. They infuriate me
because people listen to it.
People listen to it. Those predatory type people are then making money on other people's naivete.
That's right.
And then the people that are in it are the ones that are getting hurt by it.
Yeah.
And it is also at the same time, devaluing what it takes to do it by saying that it is so simplistic.
That's right. That's right. And then people realize that it's not, because, I mean, Rob, between marketing and auditioning and invoicing and trying to, just marketing, and I talk a lot about it, but marketing is like, it's a beast. And it's
just the research side of that, to find the right, we talk about the right ears, the right ears to land in. It's like, here's a pool of possible right ears. And they may not be the actual right ears.
That's right. Yeah. It is throwing a lot against the wall to see what sticks. But at the same time, as far as kind of the marketing yourself as a business goes, it's like really trying to figure out what's working and what's not. So you're constantly reevaluating and revising the structure of how you're doing things, because maybe this worked, but this didn't. So you're taking this away. I mean, so again, it's a business, and running any business is difficult. It's just, it's not an easy gig, but it's a great gig if you can get it.
Yeah.
It's great.
I was going to say, on the flip side of that, it can be incredibly rewarding when you work on a project that you really resonate with.
Yeah.
It can be like, wow, that may not have been the biggest paycheck I've ever got, but man, that was some good work got to be a part of.
The work is what it's all about. I agree. It's just doing good work and feeling like you're contributing and feeling like that part of you that needs to do it is getting fulfilled as well. And we all need to pay bills. I mean, obviously. But it is, doing good work is just so fulfilling. And it can be lucrative. It can be very lucrative, as well, but it's just, you just got to put the time in. You really do, if you want to get there.
Yeah. Is there a project that comes to mind when you're thinking about that fulfilling work? Obviously nothing that's behind an NDA still or anything like that.
Yeah. It sounds kind of silly because it's animation, but I'm a big fan of animated series and animated anything. And that goes back to the Saturday morning cartoons and after school watching, So when I love animated series that, I always get pretty fulfilled just because I'm kind of goofy as it is. So being able to have that come out in any sort of animated character is always fun. That's kind of fulfilling to me. Let me see. Another one that comes to mind is, I just did a few months, was it a few months back or was it Mindy? I can't even remember, but there's a show called, Tuttle Twins. That's an animated series. Yeah. And I love the messaging of that show. And it's a teaching platform, really teaches kids about history and things like that. And I had been auditioning for that show for 3 years before I got booked for, that show. And so I that was very fulfilling because again, I'd been auditioning for different characters for so long and I finally got booked and that was good. And, I think the last one that I guess I could think of was, I got The Chosen is one of my favorite shows for anybody that knows that series. Yeah. And I love The Chosen. And I actually got hired to narrate they were having this fundraiser, and I didn't even know what it was when I got hired for it, but they were having a fundraiser, like the actual movie studio, Angel Studios, or the production company were having, I guess they have one fundraiser for the series every year, and it was like their main thing. And I got hired to narrate the story of how The Chosen came to be, and they played it live at this huge thing that they were having for the series. And that was pretty fulfilling for me just because I loved the series, so things like that, But I mean, I think any job that you get, any project that you're booked is kind of fulfilling because you're like, okay, I auditioned and there was 400 other people that auditioned and I got it. Like, so that's kind of fulfilling in and of itself, you know?
Well, do you have a genre that you just really absolutely love?
Well, animation is definitely, and I know a lot of people love animation. I mean, it's fun. It's, I mean, the things I get booked in, the most are like commercial and animation. And I've done some video games as well. I've done video game work.
Is there something that you want to do that you've not gotten booked in yet?
Yeah.
A genre that's kind of like, man, I would love to do that.
I would love to do promo, but specific to, and I know a lot of people want to do promo, but mine is very specific to Disney Junior, Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., those type of promos. I recorded a promo demo specific to that, like kids promo genre.
Yeah.
Just because, my voice print is very young sounding and I'm not very young. But I'm lucky that I have kind of a younger sounding voice. So it just kind of works for that. So that's a genre that I would love to be able to explore more. But the funny thing is, I mean, the agents that I have don't really do a lot in promo. There are very few agents that do a lot of promo nowadays. Yeah. But that's, I would love that, like Nick Jr., that type of thing, So that's something that I would love to do.
I love that. Yeah. I definitely could hear your voice doing those type of promos and things like that.
Yeah. And it's, so that's a genre I would love to have the opportunity to get into.
That's awesome. So outside of voice acting in your business, and your music, is there something else that you're really into and really passionate about?
Very passionate about my faith. That's something that I've had since I was a kid, and I kind of grew up with that, and it's gone through different iterations over the years, and you grow and you learn, and you don't have faith and you have it again and all that stuff. So, but I think that that's just kind of something that, like, my life, I feel like if I didn't have my faith, I really wouldn't have anything, so that's kind of, I feel very strongly about that. No, and then just, obviously my family, just kind of making sure my girls grow up with a good solid core, and bringing 2 teenage girls up isn't the most easiest thing in the world. So just, that my family obviously as well.
So as a second to that question then, so what is bringing you joy right now?
I think as you get older, you realize more about life and you have different experiences, not all good. And I think it makes you appreciate kind of life as a whole. It does for me more. And I think perspective is huge for anybody. And I've gotten a lot of perspective on life over the years. And when sometimes it hits me out of the blue, but I think when I come into the booth every day and I'm able to actually finally, since I was 10 years old, do something for a living that I love. Like, I would not want to do anything else. And then I think about my life as a whole, like, and my family, and we have our health, and we have, and that doesn't mean bad things, haven't happened over the years and things like that. And you don't lose people and blah, 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 blah. But I think it brings me joy just to kind of feel like I'm in the space that I'm in. I'm taking care of my family. I'm working hard, and things are good. As crappy as sometimes they can get, ultimately, they're really, really good, So that brings me joy when I really think about that,
All right, Mike, this is the second segment of the show. This is where we dive a little bit deeper into your mental health journey.
Yep.
I believe that, depression wants to make us feel like we're alone. And the more we can talk about it, the more we realize that everybody kind of goes through those down days, the lighter that burden is and the easier it is to get out of that. So for you, how do you keep the darkness at bay?
So, it's a pretty heavy question there, Rob. I think it is, again, I mean, I know, we talked about it, but keeping really relying on my faith is something that I do rely on. I mean, I pray sometimes and I say, okay, God, I'm going to need you to take the ball today because I can't, and the thing is, he does always, and I've relied on that over the years. I mean, since I was a kid, I remember, just always, kind of going to my faith. And so I think faith is one of those things for me, and my belief in God and is just something that keeps the darkness at bay for me. And also I think realizing, because it's very easy for you when you're having a bad day for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be about work. It could be about just life. Something's going on in your life. I mean, life gets, life happens regardless of what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so I think being able to accept when you're having a bad day, that it's okay to have that bad day. Mm-hmm. I think being able to accept that can be a very positive thing. And I'm not saying tell yourself that it's okay to be like this for the next week and a half, because I don't think that that's healthy. But I think being able to tell yourself, okay, you're having a bad day, you're having these thoughts, you're second guessing yourself, your income isn't what you want it to be, whatever the case, somebody's sick in the family, like whatever. I think that being able to go, okay, it's okay for me to have this bad day and just kind of feel heavy and feel negative, but I have to do things like when I go to bed and I close my eyes, it has to be done. And I think because sometimes people, I think, and I've done it with myself over the years, is that one bad day, it's like you're not allowing yourself to have that, and you feel like it's your fault that you're having that bad day. Oh, and look at me. And then, why am I? Oh, it's because I'm weak and I don't have a lot of confidence. And that just builds and builds and builds and builds. And then that can extend for the next month, So I think just kind of telling yourself, like, it's okay to have a day like this. Like, it's okay to feel heavy. Life is a heavy thing. I mean, the world is absolutely crazy right now. I mean, there's so much going on. But again, I rely on my faith and I say, okay, well, I can't sit there and worry about everything all the time. It's no way to live. Like, I kind of have to think about what's around me, think about my family. You gotta force yourself to really try to think as positively as you can. And I know that that's not always easy. So I think just kind of, allowing yourself to know that it's okay to have a bad day is kind of how I keep it at bay. Yeah. How I keep it at bay.
Yeah. And I agree. Sometimes there's times you have to just look at that darkness. Sometimes you have to sit in it for a moment. Not that you're going to stay and wallow.
Yep.
Because then that day, if you wallow in it, that day becomes 2 days, becomes a week, becomes time that you can't get back.
Right.
But being able to say, okay, all right, I'm here. And also, when you do have a strong faith, to say, okay, God, I'm here in this. I'm going to need your help to get out of it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to need your help to get me through this.
Yeah.
I went through some real dark times last year when I lost my mother, you know,
Yeah.
she was a single mother, you know,
Yeah.
and it was just, you know, her, you know, I was the last family she had. My brother passed away, you know, like 20 years ago.
Mm.
And, so it was hard. It was hard because but, you know,
Yeah.
I say all the time that as much as I hated getting, you know, kicked out of a job that I had had for almost 10 years, and what am I going to do? That's when my wife was like, why don't you do what you love? Go back into doing voice stuff. And then if I had still been at that job, I could not have been there for her.
Yeah.
There's no way I would have had enough PTO to be able to take her to all of her doctor's appointments, to be able to do her grocery shopping and things like that.
That's right.
So sometimes we don't see the blessing, see the light that was in those moments until we've come through them.
That's right.
So I think the moving forward through that is what is really important, is don't stop, don't stay stuck.
Right. Yeah.
Keep moving through it.
And it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I can relate very much with what you just said about if you were in your old job, you wouldn't have been able to do what you did for your mom and be with your mom and things like that. I had a similar thing go on. My dad passed away a few years ago, and he got sick and was gone within 3 months. I mean, it was really quick. But if I didn't have this job, if I wasn't in this space where I'm my own boss and I can do whatever, the amount of time that I was able to spend with him and do things for him and be there for, you know, his wife when, you know, she needed me to be there, like all those things. And you sit there and you just, again, doesn't always happen the way you think it's going to happen, right? Yeah. It's not always a perfect scenario, but if you can look back at the blessing that came out of that, through what you had to go through, you know, it's, again, perspective. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Being able to, like I said, just look back and appreciate.
Yeah.
And then to appreciate, okay, well, here I am now. What am I going to do now? How am I going to keep moving forward? You know, that's one thing that as I get older, and statistically, I have more years behind me than I have ahead of me.
Yeah, right.
You know, that's a big slap in the face.
It's a weird thing to think about.
To us eternal Gen X creatures that are, you know, stuck at 35. You know, we were 35 when we were 12, and we were 35 when we were 50.
That's right.
It is a weird thing to consider that, you know, I have maybe 20 years ahead of me. You know?
I know.
And what am I going to do to keep going? And to really appreciate every day that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's the life kind of struggle, you know. It's like everybody goes through it. Everybody thinks about it, but there are certain times in life that you think a certain way because of your age. Yeah. We're all going to go sometime, you know. And, how do you live your life in the best way that you feel like you can? And I think it's also to serve other people. I think it's, you know, I think that's an important part, that it's not just a me thing, you know, and it's easy to get caught up in that trap. I mean, obviously myself included, to get caught up in the me trap. But I think if you can, you know, serve other people and feel like you're doing something to serve other people. And that could be in the form of a variety of things, but I think that's helpful too. And I think that's fulfilling as well.
All right, Mike, this is the third segment of the show. It is time now for the Fast Five. The Fast Five. It's time now for the Fast Five. Fast Five. Sorry, I'm still working on
I love it.
Theme song.
I love it. That's perfect, actually.
I really, I know people. I probably should get somebody to put a guitar track down or something. I don't know.
No,
If I was only,
I don't know.
if I was only talking to a singer-songwriter, I don't know.
I think it's actually pretty good, to be honest with you, the way it is. I kind of like it. It's very original.
Fast Five is powered by Poddex. It's an app created by my friend Travis Brown. If you go to chewingthefatbr.com/Poddex, it'll take you to a link. You can download it. It's podcaster questions, but they're great icebreakers as well. But this is 5 questions, no wrong answers. First thing that comes to the top of your head. You ready, Mike?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number 1. What is your greatest fear and how do you manage fear?
I think my greatest fear is being alone, like ending up alone in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And how do I combat that? Well, I think I just try not to think about it too much. I think it's one of those things where, again, as you get older, you think about those things. And I mean, I have a, beautiful wife and 2 beautiful girls, and by all accounts, I shouldn't be alone when I get older, but you never know. But then one thought can lead to another thought that leads to another. So I have a very creative mind, and I should have been a script writer. But it's one of those things where I just kind of have to go, okay, let's be present. Let's just stay present. So I think staying present for me is a big, big thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Question number 2. Which do you think is prettier, a sunrise or a sunset?
I think the sunset. There's something about kind of the settling of the day. That's the only kind of words I can use for that. Like, it's just, the day is just kind of, it's not done, but it's just like, I don't know. I think it's obviously an individual thing, but I don't know. I like the sunset. I mean, the sun. Yeah. Sunset. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No wrong answers.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Question number 3. What is the best compliment you ever received?
Oh my. I don't know. I think when people I've had a couple of people over the years, they'll just say, you're like one of the best humans I know. Oh. And I think that's so endearing. Like, and I don't know. I think that's just a really good compliment, because I think we all want to be good humans. Yeah. Like, right? At the end of the day, I don't care about, the career, of course, I care about it now, but like when I'm on my deathbed, am I gonna, I don't know. I think being a good human might be worth something. So I think that's probably the best compliment I've ever gotten.
That is a great compliment.
Yeah, thanks.
I would echo that. You are a great human.
Thanks, man.
Question number 4. If you could go on an adventure tomorrow, what adventure would you choose?
Oh.
And whatever your definition of adventure is,
Yeah. Well, so when you say adventure, I kind of feel like for me, and because of my family dynamic, that it's like a vacation, right?
Yeah.
So like a vacation, maybe that's somewhere we haven't gone before. I would love, this has just been a dream of mine for so long, and we talk about it with our kids, and like, I'm Italian, so I would love to go to Italy. And I think that's kind of like a bucket list thing. So to me, that would be an adventure. I think a 2-week trip to Italy and just meet family that I've never met before and just kind of been there, I think would be freaking great.
That's awesome. That'd be a great adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking to Joe Cipriano not too long ago, and he had just got his dual citizenship for Italy.
Oh, did he really?
He has an Italian passport and his American passport or whatever.
Great. I know somebody else that's doing that actually as well. And that would be, oh my God, that would
really
be great.
Cool, though. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 5. Who has been your biggest mentor or teacher this year so far? We're only a couple of months into this year.
Okay.
But this year, who's been that lesson giver to you that you've learned?
My agent, Roger Becker. Roger is, for people that know Roger, I think, they'll know what I'm talking about. But Roger, has been, when you're with an agent, a lot of times you don't have that really hands-on type of experience just because, rosters are big and things like that. But I will say, because, I'm still kind of building my business and I'm not where I want to be and I have so many goals and blah, blah, blah. Roger is just one of those people that I can go to as my agent when I'm talking about my career and things like that. That is just a great guiding light for me. And he's he's not going to throw any crap at you. He's not going to try to inflate you at all. He's just going to tell you how it is, which I appreciate. So I think that, I'd have to say for a little while now, I think Roger's been a big mentor for me, which I just appreciate so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, that is our Fast Five, and that is the show. Thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Oh, Rob, thank you for having me, man. That was a nice talk.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Talk. I appreciate it.
If folks want to keep up with you, what's the best way they can do that?
So you can find me at my website, www.MikePrevitiVO.com. I am on TikTok, Mike Previti VO. I'm on Instagram, Mike Previti VO, I think, and LinkedIn as well. So those places is where you can find me.
Well, I will make sure that I put those links in the show notes. If there are any voice actors out there that are looking for some hand holding, Mike will be a great hand holder for you. And Mike, I just wish you the best in everything that you've got going on. I love you. I love your heart. I love what you're doing. And
thanks.
Again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Rob.
And if you would like to support this podcast, I'd appreciate it if you bought me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com. But until next time, I look forward to the chance we have to sit a spell and chew the fat.